Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 5 Tips and Tricks for Careers in Athletics. I am your host, Dr. Maury Moskovitz, with my all-time most favorite, best, one of a kind, the specialist, the most wonderful, Jen Albanese. Hello, Jen.
Hey, Maury. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the podcast.
Always got to start with a giggle because we
got
it.
It was a longer countdown for some reason. I feel like we were
it's the same countdown from every time.
And but I felt like we were like frozen in time.
I'll edit that out. Okay. So today we have one of our good friends, but also like a colleague of ours, Liv Coiro, who really does amazing things with athletic communications and, just very active in that space, and someone that we really enjoy working with. So we've been excited to have her on. So that's coming up here. So she'll be great.
She's the best. We're so grateful that she took some time, and as we're all getting busy here in this fall season. So just grateful that we had time to chat with her. So it's a good conversation. For sure.
Okay, going on the giggles, my staff always cracks on me that I do a lot of dad jokes, and I don't think I'm doing them intentionally. And this was even worse. Sam Lasell, who used to be in our office, he's now in a different office, but we still appreciate it. He'd always be like, "Oh, another dad joke." It's like, I don't think it was, but
wait, so you got to tell us the dad, what would,
I'm going to tell you an actual dad joke, but I don't know the ones that just come out of my mouth. I just say things and it's not on purpose to be a dad joke, but the one that Graham really likes is how do you make a tissue dance?
Oh, put a little boogie in it.
Put a little boogie in it. That's his favorite.
Oh, that's a good one. That's such a good one. I mean, is that a joke or is that just
No, that's a joke.
I know, but it's okay. I mean, I guess that's a dad joke. I mean, yeah.
It's not a tongue twister or anything. It's a joke.
No. I mean, you're a dad, so I guess I get it.
I know, I guess. But they love to be dad joke. Clearly none of them have children, so it's a lot easier to call me out for it.
So anything that they wouldn't think is funny is probably a dad joke,
They do laugh at it though. So again, if it might be a dad joke, but they're laughing.
Hey, exactly. You're bringing some sort of entertainment value.
Exactly.
I always think of what's the commercial where they're you're your parents, when you turn into homeowners, turn into their parents.
Progressive.
What is it? Progressive, not an ad, but we would take it if you want to sponsor us, Progressive. Where they're you're in the store and you see the person with the blue hair and they're all we all see it. We all see it. I just think those are the best.
I trying to think about it. I think those ones are actually pretty spot on sometimes.
Where they're so spot on.
Where they're asking people inappropriate questions that your parents would ask. I'm oh yes. Especially when your parents hit that specific age. They're oh my God.
Yeah, the other one that is so funny when you're in a store and they just try on the clothes and they don't go in the dressing room.
Yeah, they dressing room, yeah.
Did this place not have a dressing room? My mom does that all the time. And I'm like, Mom, it's fine. We can go to the dressing room. It's totally
let's save time. We're just going to throw it right over our 10 pairs of clothes above it. And then wonder why it doesn't fit.
Oh, this is snug. I need to get a bigger size. Those are so great. Well, and we laugh at these dad jokes. That's what it is because we're at that point. We're at that point. It's good.
Well, I know another person that would definitely laugh at a dad joke, and that would be
100%.
Liv Coiro. So with that, we got to get to her and get the giggles out as soon as she comes on. So everybody stay tuned. After these messages, we'll be back with Liv Coiro.
Are you a loyal 5 Tips and Tricks podcast listener? If not, now is the time to start. Get all your info and fun content on the podcast by following us on all our social channels at @AthCareerPod. The 5 Tips and Tricks podcast is a part of Athletic Career Consulting. Make sure to reach out to us. The one-stop shop for everything is our website, www.athcareer.com. Remember, follow and like us on @AthCareerPod, rate and review us, and get all your info at www.athcareer.com. Okay, everybody, welcome back. Maury, would you like to introduce our guest today?
I am very excited about this one.
Me too.
From Long Island roots to national championship regattas and WNBA draft nights, she's been behind the scenes of telling the story of some of college most elite programs and athletes. After earning her bachelor's degree in sports management from Lasell College in 2012, she began her full-time career at Lynn University, where she led communication efforts across 10 varsity programs and served postseason contact during back-to-back NCAA Division II national championship runs for women's golf. She was also on hand as the men's basketball team reached the Sweet 16 for the first time in a decade. Her journey continued at UNC Greensboro, where she promoted standout student athletes, including CoSIDA All-Americans. At East Carolina, she took the lead on media relations for 4 women's programs, while also implementing an intern program to elevate support within the department. She joined Syracuse University in 2018, and since then, she's played a key role in promoting All-Americans and future pros. From Final Four pressers to NCAA rowing championships, she's been the voice behind the stats, the stories, and the success. A leader within college sports community, she chaired the Young Professionals Committee for 4 years and continued to serve on key national committees while presenting industry conversations across the country. She's an advocate for elevating women in sports, a strategist in the press box, and a storyteller. Very excited to have Liv Coiro come to the podcast.
Yay! Hi, Liv.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me. What an introduction. Kind of like funny to hear the things you've done in your career read back to you. And you're just like, oh, yeah, I did do that. Oh, I remember that.
Do those things. Yeah, it's a good reminder, refresher.
Yeah, perfect for what we're about to talk about.
Pretty impressive. You should be very proud of yourself. That's pretty awesome.
We're so excited to have you. We've been trying to get with you, and the world has been crazy, and we've all been doing so much, and we're like, we've been talking about it for so long. Like, Liv is going to be the best guest. We love having her. Like, if I can tell everyone, like, when I get to women's basketball, sometimes it's kind of snowy and dreary, and then Liv's right there, and I get to go in and we just have our conversations and we pick each other up and we get to work.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Well, we're happy to have you. We love it. We love it. We love it. Oh, is Maury frozen? Oh,
nope,
no,
I'm here.
Oh
my gosh.
There he is.
I'm just very still. Okay, Liv, you ready for your first tip?
Mm-hmm. I'm ready for my first tip, and I feel like what you just said is a perfect segue. My first tip of working in college athletics, specifically kind of when I made these tips and thought about them, it was what kind of I feel are tips for someone in a role similar to mine, but I think they're very applicable across the board. So my first tip is to be a people person. And this is like goes beyond just being a people person with the people you directly work with. Like in my role in communications and PR, I work directly with some teams and coaches, but I value being a people person beyond just the people in my little pod. So I value having relationships with our marketing office, with our facilities office, and not just the one person who works the same sport as me, but like get to know the people around you. You know, I know everyone over in academics. And I just feel that 2 things can really come from that. One is that you're more willing to want to help others when something comes up or you're in a bind or you just have a question you don't know the answer to. And then the other is just like, it makes work so much more enjoyable. Like I think in college athletics, you have this opportunity to meet so many interesting people from all over. And one thing about your peers specifically is like, you guys are all working towards the same thing. You all have the same common interest of wanting to work with college athletes and college coaches. And so like, when you have that bond with your coworkers or the people around you, it also just makes like work so much more enjoyable.
You know what's interesting, Liv? I think about you in like relationships, and you're like one of those people where you get to know everybody, and you're on the road a lot traveling, and like you make relationships with people wherever you go. Like I'll say to you like, oh, like I was talking to someone at this school, I know someone there. And like, you'll always have somebody that you know, and you form a relationship, and like you take all the time you can to like really have like a conversation or invest in other people. And I think it really shows in like your relationships and how you do things and like why you're so successful at what you do, because you're clearly invested in people. And that's like, I don't think something that everyone really takes the time to do. So I so much appreciate about how you approach things with that.
I think, too, like I always have Liv on all my search committees for any of my positions that are open, just because of that tip right there. Like she wants to get to know all these people and see if they're going to mesh well with the department and the people that we're working with. But also she can be a great resource of, oh, this person used to work here. This person worked here. And she has those relationships to be able to get like all the information that we need. So she's always at the top of my list for my search committees. And it's because of the relationships that you've built. We've talked about it here a bunch of times with different guests about relationships. And that's exactly what you're talking about, is how you build those relationships and how important that is. So I love that one. I really do.
Yeah,
Good.
I think like for me, you like to be on our search committee. I think it's also an opportunity to just know, like, if it's like we see it through the committee, we hire someone. I feel like I already know them a little bit. And so with
Yeah.
the people I already know around our department, I'm like, oh, have you met this person yet? Have you met this
Yes.
person yet? And trying to always build those connections, like making, when I got here, I was in my like mid to late 20s and I had a really good core group of friends at Syracuse. And I remember how important that was when you move to a city like Syracuse, you have
Yeah.
people come from all over. And so I'm always like pushing like our 10-month interns to hang out with the marketing 10-month intern and like get to know each other a little bit, because you're all kind of at that same demographic. But at the same time, like if they're like, oh, we want to go do this after work, or we're going to do this over the weekend, I'm like, oh, you guys are going to go to Syracuse Mets game? Like, I'll come too, because like that's just my personality. I'm like always down to do something. But it's that relationship building that it's not just at work. You can also do it outside of work too.
I love it.
Awesome.
Yes.
Great start. Okay, Liv, number 2.
Okay, number 2 is my tip is to master your skills. And so there's 3 main skills that I think are really important in PR and communications. One is obviously being a great communicator, both written and verbally. So one thing for me, is like making sure that I'm communicating as much as I can to the people I'm working with. So if I have a project I'm assigning to one of my interns, I am giving them as much information as I can. So, well, one, they're going to interrupt me less when they're working on the project. And two, and two, they have everything they need to succeed. So communicating really clearly, written, verbal, very important. Number 2 is to be savvy and be able to anticipate what the media's needs will be. So with our season starting up for women's basketball, one of the things that I'm like crazy about is having like my shared folder that I have all my media stuff in. So we just had our content and photo day last week. I took all the headshots, put them in my shared drive. Now when people are asking me for headshots because they're doing something with our student athletes or they're talking about someone, those headshots are in there. There's action photos in there already. And soon there'll be, practice photos and game photos. And I have that stuff because I anticipate, hey, we're writing this feature story on someone. Do you have any photos of them? Yeah, here's a link to the folder specifically for them. I already have it. So if it's 7 o'clock at night and one of our sportscasters in the Syracuse area is working on something for like the 11 p.m. news, hey, do you have this picture of Coach Jack? Oh yeah, I got it for you. Here's the link. Instead of me having to open up my computer and go find the photo, try and connect to our server, like just make it as easy as possible for me. So trying to just be really savvy and anticipate their needs. And then the art of storytelling. So I think that goes hand in hand with being a little savvy and having good communication skills. But at the end of the day, what my job is telling our team story or our program story or our student athlete story or our coach's story. So it's just, for me, that's one thing that's really important. So how do you become a good storyteller? You have to be a good listener.
No, awesome.
Good listener. Oh, I love that one. I do like the communication piece too, because I think that the art of that is not as good as it used to be. Especially we see it with our interns today. Like, you're emailing with them or you're talking to them about something and they can't communicate what they want or how they want to do something or when they can be somewhere. And that's so important. I think across the board, obviously in communications and working with the teams and the media, that's important, but communication across the board, how you communicate with your boss, how you communicate with other people across departments. Like you want to come across as professional and, that they understand what you're trying to say. So I think that is kind of lost sometimes. Hopefully maybe AI can help with that. But, I think that that's something that is really important for students, especially to know. So.
You know what I was thinking about too, when you had your second point about like being prepared and making sure that you have everything lined up. A lot of people think, well, the person that's in charge of sports information is just like putting stuff out to the media, and it's so much more than that. Like they're really a hub for a lot of our staff. So like I think about like when we're getting close to like having to do like announcements for someone having like a big milestone, or when we're doing presentations, like Liv is always like, hey, I think within 2 games, this person's going to get this, and we're prepared, and we're not like rushing through. And unfortunately, like some people that are not as prepared or might not have as much experience is usually what happens. It's like, okay, well, hey, like in the next goal, it's going to be their 700th goal. And we're going to be like, we have nothing written. We have nothing like, like, well, how do you want us to do this all of a sudden? And I never come to a game that you're working that I'm like, okay, am I going to be surprised by anything? Cause I always feel like you'll tell me exactly what's going on. If we have been prepared, like, there's a media member that's been kind of really antsy on this. So we might need to watch like how to make sure that we make sure they get what they need, or where they're directing to, or like just make sure people aren't sneaking back in the locker room because the student seemed to be just really unsure of what to do. So like it's people don't realize the value of what your role does, not just for the media, but for everybody that's inside the department and like that works with you guys and what you do.
It's so funny. We get so many phone calls to our office phone because, like, for years we've been listed as sports information, and we
Right.
get the crazy. I mean, you guys have heard all the stories.
Yeah.
We get these crazy calls, and sometimes it's like, you know what? If they didn't call us, who would they have called?
Well, they call the front main line sometimes, and I've been forwarded some of those because my staff oversees those. So if it's not your crazy, it ends up being our crazy every once in a while.
And we've just been known as sports information for years and years and years.
Yeah.
And then, as college athletics changes and shifts, our title has shifted, but we're still sports information. We've got it all up there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So
okay.
good.
Number 3. We're on number 3 now?
Yes.
Okay.
Number three. Number 3 is a big part of what we do now, right? When I started in college athletics, like we didn't have Instagram in the capacity that we have it now. We had like one team account for the whole university. So the tip number 3 is that digital and social skills are critical to have. You need to be fluent in social media, understand the trends, know how to use the platforms, studying the analytics and understanding what performs well where and when to post, which has changed a little bit in recent years. But really understanding and having skills in that area is going to help you, because it helps you when you're in game telling story of the game that you're working and covering. It's throughout the season, how you're depicting the program that you're working with or the coach you're working with, and just to be very, very skilled and up to speed on it. I remember when like TikTok first kind of launched in 2020 and it took off during the pandemic. I was not on TikTok. I don't think I got on TikTok until like fall 2021. And it was because our basketball players were like, Liv, how are you not on TikTok? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to learn a new app. And I remember like the first TikTok I made with them, and they were just like, this is an app. Like, even if you don't post, just scroll it, just see what we're doing on it. And like, it took that group telling me, like, you've got to get on this app. And now, like, I really am not a big TikTok doom scroller. Like, I still stick to Instagram. That's definitely my vibe. But like, I'll find myself on TikTok and our student athletes pop up. I see other schools and different teams popping stuff up. And I'm like, okay, this is what they meant. Like, just be present where we're present. So I think staying savvy on all that stuff is just so important.
I have 2 questions. First, do you think that like someone that's young, because they're like a digital native, can come in and be prepared, or do you need to know more than just like what you do when you're playing on your phone at home? And number 2, do you guys use any other technology to help you with your social media postings?
So, question 1, I think that we are starting to rely a lot more on our interns for input, not just execution anymore. I know with women's basketball, we utilize our pod, which is creative and communications interns. Kind of like last night, I literally put something in there and I was like, hey guys, this is an idea that was presented to me. Let's think of ways together that we can make this better. because they're more present on social media. They know, like, I'm not about to watch a 5-minute video of two people sitting down, but I might watch something of them goofing off, saying funny questions to each other. So I lean on the younger groups like that. I think that the older generation of people like me, I'm stuck in the middle, but the people that are older than me, I think it's a little harder for them because they didn't grow up like with this so accessible all the time.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I talk about with one of our coaches. Like, he's like, I'm not used to having a camera around recording me all the time. The younger kids grew up like that. So they kind of know what the trends are because it's just so part of them now. And then the second part of your question was any like technology we're using for our posting. We've dabbled a little bit with using AI to create some video stuff, some like graphics, templates. I've used AI for that. I've actually started to look into using some AI to write press releases. We had a whole presentation from campus about it the other day, and it was actually really interesting. And the few of us who've dabbled a little bit with it have been, pretty pro that, like ways to do our jobs smarter, make it a little easier. And I will say I'm a big Chat GPT, like caption this video for me person, because when you've been posting for a team on social media as long as I have, and you don't want to sound like you're saying the same thing all the time, like you just Chat GPT that.
It's cool. It's a good idea.
I love that. We need to use that more. I'm always like, new episode. And I'm like, I say the same thing every Tuesday. I'm going to do it.
That's exactly it. Just look it up.
Yeah.
That's why Liv's here. She's giving the tips. She's just passing them out.
We're all learning. We're all learning right around with Liv. Absolutely. I feel you on the TikTok stuff. Like it was hard for me. I'm not really on it either, but it's funny. I will say my mother-in-law is like obsessed with TikTok, and she's like, all I do is watch TikTok. And I'm like, okay, well, if my mother-in-law is watching TikTok, I got to at least try it. You know what I mean? Like, so it's not something that I post on, but I definitely like look at it and see kind of what's happening. But I agree with you. Instagram is definitely where like us older folks feel more comfortable, but yeah, that's like the way of how everything is and how you communicate across everything is through social media. That's where you get your news. That's where you're communicating with your fans. That's where you're buying tickets. You're buying merchandise. Everything is through social media. So that's a really good tip.
Okay. Number 4.
Yes.
Tip number 4. Tip number 4 is to plan ahead, but be flexible. There's a lot of ways that you can plan ahead. I am really trying, as I'm in this next decade of my life, the decade I'm currently in my 30s, where I'm not considered really a young professional anymore. I'm trying to find some more peace and balance. And one thing that I used to not hesitate to was to open my computer and start working at night while I'm watching the Yankees play or doing things like that. Now I'm trying to not do that as much. And one of the ways I've done that is to try to just prepare as much as I can for things that might come up. So one thing that, some of our team accounts do in running social media is doing birthday graphics and birthday posts. And for me, nothing grinds my gears more than when it's a beautiful Saturday afternoon and I get a text from a coach at like 4:00 saying, hey, it's so-and-so's birthday. And I'm like, well, I'm nowhere near a computer. I don't know if I have photos of them. And I don't know when I can even get that up. And, then you feel bad because you feel like the athlete thinks you forgot their birthday. You don't care about them. So one thing that I did this year with my interns was we made all of our birthday graphics for the entire year. We put all of the athletes' birthdays in my calendar. So now every morning when I wake up, I just look to see whose birthday it is. And if it's no birthday, I just roll back over and hit snooze. If it's a birthday, we post first, then we snooze. But we put it in my calendar. So now, like, if I get a text at 4:00 on a Saturday afternoon where I'm not working, I can literally have it on my OneDrive on my phone, download the graphic because it's already made, post it, tag the athlete, and put my phone down within 2 minutes. And it's not, oh my gosh, I have to take my computer out. Now I'm working on a day off. And it's just like, okay, so those things I can anticipate, right? So plan ahead, but be flexible. There'll be times that things come up that you don't know it's going to happen. It's like, all right, now I got to open my computer or get to my computer and work on it. Long nights and weekends, they happen. Try and find the balance as best as you can within that. And one of the ways is to be prepared for what could be coming up. And then, just as much as you can, in anticipation for what's ahead. So on a Friday when I leave the office, if I know, like, especially in the summer, I'm not really working over the weekend, I always kind of look through what my Monday, Tuesday will look like so that if there's anything I can do over the weekend to prepare for that with some downtime I might have, I do take care of it then. So plan ahead, be flexible.
Nice. Have you got to the chance yet where a coach texts you and says it's somebody's birthday and you get to go, it's already been posted? So like that would make me feel so good.
No, because a lot of times they're like chronically online, the coaches. So they'll see it and they won't text me that it's someone's birthday. But I do sometimes, I'm scared some of our coaches might watch this, but sometimes I fib and say it's already scheduled if I forgot to post it. Like if I know it's so-and-so's birthday, but I just haven't posted it yet because I didn't post it when I first woke up or I got distracted by scrolling social media, then I'm like, oh yeah, it's scheduled for later. And I just post it in like 30 minutes.
That's the best feeling when a coach texts you and be like, this needs to happen. I'll be like, already done. I'm like, oh, this is such like, oh.
Yeah.
The gratification,
nice.
Right?
There's so much gratification. Like you're going to jump. It's like, it's already finished. It's done.
Yep. It's for anything. Any boss texts you about that or sends you an email and you're like, right here, attached. I'm like, send, attached.
I just yell down the office to my boss right now and tell him, like, hey, done.
Your boss that doesn't have a door right now, that's my fault, unfortunately.
It's okay.
But we are very grateful, Maury, because now Liv and I are neighbors, so we love it. Yes. We're in a little neighborhood together, and it's fantastic.
We moved everyone's offices, but unfortunately, one of the doors was, I was told as we were moving everyone, it was 6 weeks behind, which didn't get told to me when we were starting to move everybody. And then Liv's telling me like she's going to put up like beads or like stuff to try and decorate the office, and I'm like,
saloon door.
Yeah, saloon door. We had a lot of suggestions coming through, and I was like, nope, we're just gonna get the door as quickly as possible.
I will say it has to be in before the holidays, because if not, I'm doing like tinsel, like it will be decorated. If the door is not in by the holidays, Maury,
if the door is not in by the holidays, I will be marching to campus planning, because it was 100% supposed to be in time. And I do have a weekly text message with someone like, how are we doing on the door?
The door.
See, and it just goes back to that, your tip about like being a people person and just like having those relationships where it's all good that the door isn't there and everybody's okay with it. Now we can laugh about it. So
yeah,
I honestly think it's like bonding our office together right now, because people will walk in to talk to Tyler and my boss, and they'll look and they'll just see this. There's 3 other people in the office, but not really. And it's like, okay, we're going to have to take a walk.
Oh, I love it.
We will get a door. I promise. It's coming.
Sure, Maury. No, just kidding.
Okay, Jen, last question.
All right. Yes. Last one for you, Liv. Okay. So what do you know now that you wish you knew then? So what do you know now at this point in your career that you wish you knew when you first started?
That's a really good. One thing that I wish, I don't know, it's kind of hard because I feel like sometimes the college athletics culture that we work in doesn't allow it because people say, oh, you shouldn't allow it, but like you should allow it. And if you start to allow it and you start to encourage it, what I'm about to say, then it becomes an effect and it's no longer the culture we live in. And one thing that I think is like, it's very important to not miss things in your life, because this is a job. At the end of the day, it's a career, it's a job we love, it's a career we love, it's something we've worked years and years and years to get where we all are, or you're working really hard to get where you're going. But like, don't miss your best friend's wedding, don't miss your cousin's wedding, don't miss a holiday with your family if it's a tight turnaround, you have to drive a couple of hours, because it might be your last holiday with your grandparent, you just don't know. And so try to miss, as little as possible. And for me in my career, as Maury talked about, started many years ago, and I moved from New York, went to college in Boston. I'm from New York, Long Island, and I went to Florida, and like I was nowhere near family, and I missed bachelorette party for my cousin. I'm a bridesmaid. I miss everything but the wedding. Everything but the wedding was always my thing with people from far away. And as I got closer, obviously that was part of my plan in my career, was to be closer to my family and my loved ones, but to miss as little as possible. So my nephew is last year, we did a family Down syndrome walk together for him. And I remember going to my boss and saying, hey, I kind of already had something planned with my family this weekend, but now we're doing this on top of it. And I'm not missing that. Like, I'm not missing my first family Down syndrome walk together. I might miss this year. I am. And I might miss next year. But then in 3 years from now, I might want to go again. But I'm not missing the first one. And so I missed a home football game for that. And it was something that Tyler was really great about when I asked. I said, it's really important. My family's coming up to Connecticut for it. And I also wanted to see the Goo Goo Dolls in concert that night, also in Connecticut. So it worked out. But I was there for the family thing. And that was really important to me. And so I think if, as everyone grows in their career and you become a boss, valuing that for your staff, because you might have missed out on it for yourself, or you might have had that opportunity. I mean, you guys are both very close to your family geographically, so you don't have that. But when you think someone's here from California or someone's here from Texas, if we could send them home for a weekend to be at a family wedding, let's make sure that they can get home for a family wedding. So what I wish I knew was, like, don't miss the big things. And I'm very grateful that in my career, I haven't missed a lot of big things, but there are 2 weddings in particular, 2 college friends that I regret all the time that I never was at their wedding.
Yeah, it's hard.
I couldn't tell you what I missed it for.
Yeah,
right.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe
you go back and you think about, was it worth missing it for something that you don't even remember what you missed it for? Right. That doesn't mean it's even worth it. I try, and I hope that my staff will say that I'm good with that. And I try really hard to push them to take the time at the holidays and be with their family. And I think that I'm open enough, and I hope I'm as good as Tyler is, that I want them to be able to not miss the big things, because I don't want to miss the big things either. Now that I have kids, and there's things, even little things like parent night, like I don't want to miss that. So I think that those are important things to prioritize in the beginning of your career. And then you kind of set that boundary right off the bat. And that kind of helps you throughout, as that's kind of, hey, this is what my boundary is, and this is what I'm willing to do. And there are times where obviously things come up and you have to, there's big events, or we're hosting NCAA tournaments or something like that. And I get that. But for things that you can try to plan out, I think that's really important to set that right in the beginning of your career.
Yeah, I'm not very good at this. I will be the first to admit. Like, I struggle with this incredibly.
So much better.
But I will, and and that's where I was gonna go next, is to say, someone was talking recently on a podcast about, like, your tribe, like your group, and I feel really positive about when I, like, think about my tribe, like our group in the facilities event staff, and now the equipment room staff that I get to work with, and what has helped me to be much better at this, and I am better at it, is that I feel much more comfortable being like, okay, I have people that I trust that I can leave behind. And, like, I know that if I'm not there, they're representing what I is expecting for. And, like, I'm not leaving, like, I'm not neglecting it. I'm putting people in place that I feel like, okay, this is the right thing. And I also like that the group I work with is really good about being like, hey, like, I want to go on a cruise with my parents, and so, like, let's make that work. Or, like, I want to visit my family overseas, and, like, we all have really good about trying to, like, take time. And oftentimes they'll be like, hey, so-and-so is covering for me, even before, like, I talk to them, and they know that that's good with me. And that if I need them to cover something, or they usually wait, I'm usually the last one they ask, which they could ask me earlier, but, like, they go through everyone else and they'll be like, hey, like, I want to take it off. And everyone's like, listen, I'll cover it. Like, it's not, it's changed my perspective, because I don't look at it like I'm personally missing. It's about the group taking care of it. And I guess everyone has to find their way towards, like, that process of not missing it. And so, like, for me, I feel like that's a really good point.
Yeah.
The missing it thing, I feel like so early in my career, I felt like I had to be at every game. And I mean, at a Division II school, sometimes you have to be at every game. But there was definitely, like, even a road game 30 minutes away, I was like, oh, we're going to go down for it. Why do I need to go down for it? Like, I'm going to follow online. I can watch it on TV. Like, there's just so many different things that, like, even this year, I try to go and see every sport play or practice
Yeah.
that I can. And so this year, like cross country only races close once. And I was like, I'll go to Colgate. And I went and I told Tyler, like, I'll take photos at the game, at the game. That's bad on me. I ran track my whole life. At the meet. But like, I'll go to their race and take photos and stuff to be able to help you. But I really want to go and support them. And I want to be able to do that. But in my old life, 20-year-old Liv, I would be there. Then I would have gone back to campus to go be somewhere else and then go to another game later in the day.
Right.
I was like, no, one thing's good, go support and then go home.
Yeah. It takes the practice of it, and it takes like seeing it and growing. But hopefully if somebody's listening, they can hear us saying it, and it might spark something in their mind like, hey, I shouldn't miss that family wedding, or I shouldn't miss my best friend's, birthday or whatever they're doing something for. So hopefully somebody hears that and thinks about it. So it's a good one.
Okay. Well, Liv, thank you so much for doing this. We were so glad that we got the chance.
You were so good. It was so good. It was great.
You guys made it very conversational. I get very nervous when I have to talk about my career, especially after Maury gives like such a great introduction.
No,
well,
you live up to it. We know it.
Exactly. And you're such a good role model for, the younger generation of people coming up in this industry. And, like I said, when we talked about, guests, we definitely wanted you. And you're only like our second person from Syracuse. So should we feel very special?
No, I feel very special. I kind of bragged in the office today. I'm not going to lie. I was like, I'm on Jen and Maury's podcast tonight. And then it was a lot of like, when does it air? And I was like, oh no, you're going to listen to me talk about my career.
Very soon.
I'll do a great edit for you.
Okay.
I love it. Well, thank you, Liv.
Yeah, thanks. And everyone, make sure to follow us. Jen, you want to throw out what to do next to make sure you catch all our episodes?
Yes. So make sure you're following us on all your social platforms at @AthCareerPod, and new episodes drop every Tuesday. And make sure you're listening on all your podcast platforms, liking, sharing, rating, reviewing, everything you're supposed to do for podcasts. And we appreciate all the support, and thank you guys for listening.
Bye, everyone.
All right. Bye. Thanks, Liv.
Bye.
If you like the 5 Tips and Tricks podcast, make sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. You can rate and review us, including questions that may be answered on future episodes. The 5 Tips and Tricks podcast for careers in athletics is part of Athletic Career Consulting. Check us out at www.athcareer.com. Don't forget to follow and like us on your top social media platforms.